How is it we think, oh, everyone's moving to Madrid, Spain, so that's where I'm going to. Everyone loves it, so I will too. That's not how it works. Madrid, Spain is only best for those who it is best for, but it might not be best for you.
You gotta understand, that you're following the crowd. If your source of money is unlimited, then go for it, follow the crowd. But if you want to live like a millionaire without being one, you don't want to spend $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in rent, okay?
Hello and welcome to our Retire Early Lifestyle, where we bring you insights, strategies, and realities about retire and live abroad sphere. You need to know these truths so you can avoid them. The first cold dark truth today is unless you want to come back home within 5 years of moving abroad, there are a few things you should know, so let's hurry up and get started today. When we move abroad, why do we think the country, city, or town we move to is the one we will live in on a permanent basis? Why does it even have to be the one that we actually live in on a permanent basis? I think after studying some of the finer points of the live abroad movement and why expats leave is because they have this idea that the one great country they're moving to will be the one. It will be the one for them, and that's just not true and is very limiting. What you need to know, number one, do not set your sights on just one country. Expats set their hearts on only one country, end up not liking it, and come back home. Well, that's almost a given. How is it we think, oh, everyone's moving to Madrid, Spain, so that's where I'm going to. Everyone loves it, so I will too. That's not how it works. Madrid, Spain is only best for those who it is best for, but it might not be best for you. This is why spending time checking out other towns and cities of the country you move to is the way to go. Some vloggers call this slow travel, and we call it expat discovery way to travel. You might like Valencia, Spain better than Madrid, and so that would make Valencia, Spain best for you. With Expat Discovery, you can check out different areas of the same country, or you can get on a plane and check out the bordering country for your Expat Discovery. The neat thing about regional travel is its air flights are cheap. From Italy, Frank and I traveled to Malta for 25 euros. You need to book several weeks in advance, but it's the way to get a closer look at different areas in the same region. If you're in Italy, you can take a train or plane to France. You see how that works? Don't set your sights on just one city in a country or even one country. Discover what's out there and what fits your lifestyle and personal preferences the best. We've been talking about moving abroad in this way for years. Or instead of renting at the expat prices of $1,200 per month, spread that rent out in 2 or 3 different countries like this.
Okay, so I see people in this space having difficulty with, they want to live in 2 or 3 different countries, and they're racking up expenses. They're trying to figure out how they're going to do it. Airbnb, the price can go just ridiculously too high for somebody that's trying to live in 2 or 3 different places. Now, the way I see it, right, with our experience, is I see the average mainstream expat going to these promoted places that we talk about, the RAM magazine, the RAM group promoted spaces. Now, I see a lot of people really buying into this, and there's nothing we can do about it other than have our hacks to, be able to do what we want to do. Because when we go as part of the crowd, we end up having to be in line with Airbnb prices, and that's just not going to work. It's not going to add up.
It's too expensive.
The thing is that these RAM groups, they cater to the wealthy, okay? And so you don't have to be a millionaire or wealthy to be able to go abroad, travel abroad, do what you want to do. And so here's the thing, when I look at what the average RAM magazine follower is spending to not just travel, okay? And I'm not just talking about RAM magazines, I mean even other people in this space of move abroad, live abroad. They could be retirement, they could be consulting, business, whatever it is. You gotta understand, that you're following the crowd. If your source of money is unlimited, then go for it, follow the crowd. But if you want to live like a millionaire without being one, you don't want to spend $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in rent, okay?
Yeah.
The average mainstream go abroad follower spends $800 to $1,200. And I'm telling you right now that we, for $800 to $1,200, could stay in at least 2, if not 3. We could keep a year-round place in at least 2 or 3 different countries for that. We could do it.
Maybe one might be more expensive than the others.
They wouldn't be the same price. Maybe one
Right.
of them's $400 and the other one's $200. But the bottom line is that within that price range of $800 to $1,200, we could easily have at
Easy.
minimum 2 places, if not 3. Okay, so we've already shown you that we have an apartment for $340 in Italy already, furnished. That's furnished, okay? That's for a family. I mean, if it was just the 2 of us, we wouldn't need something that big. We just also made a video about the $350 furnished apartment in Cuenca. So there's $700. There's 2 places already for less than what the mainstream Go Abroad follower is spending, $800 to $1,200. Now, I understand what you're saying. Those are long-term rentals, and that's what I'm talking about. For the person that wants to travel the world, this is an excellent strategy to have a couple of year-round apartments, maybe 3, and then to branch out from there, because it is cheaper. Because let's say, you know, we have an apartment, furnished apartment in Cuenca for $350, and we could, if that was our permanent year-round apartment, then from Cuenca we could branch out and maybe go to the coast, and that wouldn't cost $500 in airfare from Cuenca to go to the coast. So it'd be a lot cheaper once we've got these apartments all settled. Then our additional expenses would be a lot lower because we would be using buses. And you could find local hostels and such that are reasonably priced, or maybe house sit or whatever. You could do this on continents that are close for airfare. I know that Central, South America, Mexico, they're really quite spread out, and the airfare is going to, be a little bit higher than, say, in Europe, where you tend to be able to fly for a lot less money. And yes, we have an apartment right now for $340 furnished in southern Italy, and if we wanted to, we could go to other European countries and do the same thing. So the bottom line is, you could have 2 or 3 different apartments.
What you need to know, number 2, do not have high expectations, imagining that everything is going to be perfect when you move abroad. In fact, it's best to not have any expectations at all unless you can guarantee them. One thing we've noticed with all the BS hype out there about moving abroad is we tend to take what a vlogger says to heart and then expect it for ourselves. And it never works that way. Like when we moved to Cuenca, Ecuador, vloggers were hyping up about the weather, saying you never need to have AC or heat in your house because the weather is so mild in Cuenca. The term mild is too vague to take home for dinner, and most people needed to have a propane heater in the chilliest months of the year, running all day in the house. But propane is cheap, so it was okay, but that was a disappointment. This is why taking a vlogger's words and setting them in stone is not a good idea. Here are some expectations that most people experience when they go abroad. You may become lonely. You might feel like an outsider. You might get bored because it's difficult making friends when you cannot speak the language. You might feel isolated from the community. And you may have problems with other expats. You may not like it there. You may miss your family back home. How will you deal with these issues if and when they come up? What you need to know, number 3, you should have a permanent home base. Most expats don't think about this when they go abroad, and it's because they're moving abroad and they think that it will be their permanent home base. But will it? We're seeing expats coming out in our comment sections now saying this: I want to come back home, but the USA is too expensive. Or, how can I come back home? I don't have a place to live and I can't afford the rents. These sentiments are very sad. We feel awful for these people. They should be able to come back home. This is why you should be prepared and have a permanent home base for when you need it. Here is where your permanent home base should be. It should be where your family is, where your children are, where your grandchildren live. It should be where you feel comfortable and in familiar territory. It should be where you can speak the language and are able to converse easily with the people. You need to have this permanent home base for your own security and well-being. You never know. You may end up needing to come back home after 2 to 5 years. We see people coming back home all the time. Not saying that will happen to you, but it will happen to some people watching this video today. You can count on that. And remember, it's okay to come back home, okay? So what you need to know before you move abroad is, 1, don't set your sights on only one country or city. Do not have high expectations or any expectations. And 3, have a permanent home base for your security and well-being, or at least have a plan for a home base. So that's it for this video today. We hope you found this information interesting and enlightening. Take care and bye-bye.